these social platforms are rented. What we have is an owned community and a definable niche. So my whole goal has been to flip that model, so we're not relying on brands.
Before you go on, what's the difference between owned and rented?
Owned is, I think, and like I would define our newsletter business as a very owned audience. So we have about 40,000. We just started it, but really just started. I mean, it's been going for a couple of years, but really started going 3 times a week and on a cadence. So owned is something that you can go direct to them, and that maybe they won't open it one day, in their inbox, their newsletter. But an owned audience, you have direct access to. Hopefully, ideally, right? Like if they open the email, it's also events. So when we put on events and pack 700, 800 people in a room for some of our bigger ones, down to 20 to 30 person dinners that are very much more curated. That's an owned audience. Those are people that are making the conscious decision to show up and either support you or be, involved in whatever project you're doing or community. Rented audience is everything on social. And you are reaching sometimes 1% to 5%, 10% if you're lucky of your audience when you're posting, whether it be an Instagram story or TikTok or YouTube, probably higher metrics, but hopefully, that's the roulette wheel. And like, that's what a lot of creators and others are worried about. And, in fighting against the overly saturated excess of content. There's 93 million Instagram posts a day, 20 million YouTube videos, 23 million TikToks posted every day. So you're fighting against that for every creator, and there's more and more creators. Now there's AI. So that's a rented audience. You post something online and you hope it reaches your community or audience, your followers for social, but you're not guaranteed. And that's why I've put so much emphasis on owning our niche, our definable niche, which is people that work in entertainment and students, and care less about how many views a Instagram reel or a TikTok will receive, or like really how many followers we have on socials. I care a lot more about the engagement and those owned channels. And there's probably someone smarter than me would throw in a couple other owned channels, but I see that for us as our event business, the tech will build as well as our newsletter side of the business.
Okay, so 3 years from now, what does this pie look like?
This pie is going to be 90%, well, I guess events. So I would say 90% owned IP, and that includes events, and 10% brand revenue. For us, we, instead of going and working with, love them, but a Hulu, a 20th Century, or Amazon MGM, or you name it, Mattel, etc., on one of their pieces of IP or TV show, we're going to make our own. And whether it be a long form scripted show, or we're coming out and we're working on a short form scripted series, that's our IP. So we're going to monetize through that. It could be brand funded, but I view that as our own IP, and it's within our control to how that scales versus relying on a brand to hit us up like Red Bull and saying, we want to sponsor something.
Here's a brief, respond to the brief.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.